All right, and welcome back to the forecast card. Honestly, not a very good day. Luckily, two of the bets I hit were plus money, so it didn't end up being too bad of a day. 3 and 5. I genuinely thought I should have went 7-1. The way some of these games went. Definitely a lot of bad luck, but let's kind of go through them briefly. Dodgers. Uh, yeah, 12 left on base, 2 home runs. Both home runs were solos, no one on base, despite having 12 left on base. So really surprised they couldn't get there. Shohei goes basically pretty much 0 for 5. He got a hit at the end of the game, but it didn't actually end up mattering. Um, yeah, just really a frustrating one. Of course, my initial bet was the total. I'm like, there's no way that the Nationals are going to get too many runs here, and they completely lit up. Um, Robleski, he gave up 8 earned runs. What can you do? Happens. Toronto versus Boston over. Probably my most unlucky bet of the day. This game I think has 17 runners stranded. Toronto left 10 on, and the Red Sox left 7 on. Yeah, so 17 left on base. Red Sox only managed to get 1 run here off of Easton Lucas, who somehow completely shuts them out despite having a pretty bad stats last year. I guess maybe he's all of a sudden this elite ace, but Boston at home completely shit the bed. Um, yeah, not much to say. The fact that it ends at 7, I think there were seven double plays in this game. I would have taken a push. I think at the very end of the game, the Red Sox they get 2 on, no out. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll get lucky. And then literally immediately double play, guy runs to third, and then game over. So it is what it is. That one probably pissed me off the most. 17 left on base, and the total ends at 7. It's just frustrating. Phillies money line, probably the one that I arguably got the most wrong. It wasn't necessarily not close. I think the Braves ended up getting ahead in the bottom of the 8th, up 2. But yeah, Wheeler did not look great. 5 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, but yeah, 5 earned runs is not great. Both pitchers gave up 5 earned runs. There's basically a bullpen difference where the Braves kind of pulled ahead there. That being said, the Phillies technically have a better bullpen, so I don't know. It could have went honestly either way. The starting three for the Phillies go 1 for 5, 1 for 4, 1 for 5. Honestly, Nick Castellanos and Schwarber 3 for 3, 3 for 4. There was hope in this game, but yeah, Turner, Harper, Baum all absolutely were useless this game. So it is what it is. Texas Chicago over 7.5. Uh, Relatively sweat free. This game ends up being pretty high scoring, 10-6. So yeah, I would say sweat free. Milwaukee, Colorado, first 5 under 4.5. My second extremely bullshit under. If you took the full game under, you would have cashed. Um, but yeah, man, first 5, first inning nothing, second inning nothing, third inning 5 fucking runs, and I think I even mentioned in the video that I wish I could have got under 5 under 5.5 because I had a feeling 5 runs and then fourth inning nothing, fifth inning nothing. So just 1 inning, and most of the runs came with 2 outs. Just a complete implosion by Freeland at the worst time. That one really pissed me off. I felt like it was definitely the right side. The fact that the game basically was, finished at 10 with 3 solo home runs with no one on base. Pitchers played well, bullpens played well. Just that 1 inning where he couldn't get the third out, and it costed us. Um, yeah, it is what it is. Still really pissed about that. Right side, wrong result. Happens. Baltimore, Arizona over. Another one where I really felt like it should have came through. In terms of LOB, there's only 10 left on base. But the Orioles don't get a single home run. Gunnar Henderson goes 0 for 4 again. This guy just fucking sucks. Obviously, he didn't get like a preseason, so you can't fully blame him. But total ends at 7. Just so many opportunities. But like, just to give you an idea, one, two. I don't know how many double plays there were, but the very end of the game in the 8th and 9th, there was 3 double plays. And just all I needed was the Orioles to get 1 run, and at least would have been forced to at least give me a push. But they just couldn't get through. At the very end, they pitch into a double play. That one got a hit. So I really do think that all of the overs and team totals all could have hit, and I think that today could have easily been 7-1. But that obviously doesn't happen. Reds win 1-0. Lodolo, as I expected, just completely played amazing like he has been lately. Um, Roop, he played fine. He only gave up 1 run. Can't really blame him. But 7 hits. Reds were definitely the right side. Yeah, it was 8 hits to 4. But Giants are one of those teams that historically come back. So luckily they don't. And Athletics, pretty sweat free. They ended up winning this game 10-4. It felt like it had no chance at the beginning when the Padres went up 3-0 in the first. But then the Athletics put up 6 runs in the bottom of the first, and then kind of continued to roll that game. Springs kind of locked back in. So 3-5 on the day. Really, really, really frustrating losses. But it seems like a lot of people didn't have a great day today. So it's baseball. What can you do? Let's get into my side or lean for every single game for tomorrow. Bringing us to game number 1, we have the Cardinals heading on the road to play the Pirates. Now, both these teams, kind of shit. Obviously, Cardinals went crazy off of what I was considering one of the best pitchers. I'm glad I kind of leaned off of it because I was kind of scared that the right-hitting Cardinals were going to have some success against Skeens. But today we have 2 much worse pitchers. We have Fedde versus Keller. Keller historically been really, really good at home. He's been really bad to start off the year. Fedde being historically a pretty solid pitcher, but he's having a really tough start too. Really no specific lean here. I think I'm just going to have to lean Cardinals, very slight lean, because historically they have done really well against Mitch Keller. In 120 at-bats, Keller versus the Cardinals has given up in .292 average, .861 OPS, 35 hits, 8 walks, 12 RBI, 5 home runs. Plus, on paper, I do think Fedde is the slightly better pitcher. I have him, if I can double check this, I have him as my 103rd the best pitcher in baseball, compared to Keller, who I have at 171. So pretty close. I do think the Cardinals have the slightly better bullpen. Both bullpens are well rested. If I had to pick a side, it's going to have to be Cardinals here. Again, they're playing another righty, and if they can hit Skeens as well as they did, they can definitely hit Keller. So definitely would lean Cardinals here if I had to pick a side. All right, heading out to game number 2 at 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time. We have the Mets heading on the road. Sorry, the Marlins heading on the road to play the Mets. Both these pitchers have been pretty decent this year. Meyer, historically, his biggest problem is that he gives up a lot of home runs, but otherwise he's a pretty solid pitcher. And when it comes to early on season, Meyer should be decent because the weather is really not necessarily designed for home runs to be hitting as often as they will be in a couple of months. That being said, Tyler McGill has looked incredible. But again, Myers looked really good too. Both these teams this year versus righties, the Mets have kind of struggled. Ranked 21st, WRC plus 86 with 296 plate appearances. So good enough sample size to say that they can't hit righties as well as they did last year. Well, Miami's doing slightly better than they are. Actually, kind of worse. 70. Yeah, I don't really know much what's going on in this game. I think both these pitchers are decent. Meyer, obviously starting off the year, decent with a xFIP of 280. He's looking honestly really, really good. A strikeout per 9 innings of 11.6. And then obviously you've got whatever his name is, McGill. xFIP of 373, not necessarily that elite, but his ERA speaks a bit more to his ability to get out of shitty innings. Both these lineups not hitting righties too well. I don't really like a side. Marlins moneyline probably holds the value at plus 185, but my lean for this game is going to be first 5 under 3.5. All right, bringing us to game number 3, we have the Yankees heading on the road to play Detroit. Now, these are 2 obviously very elite pitchers. We got Max Fried heading on the road against Jack Flaherty. Flaherty obviously used to be on the Dodgers, now on the Tigers. This one's a tough one. If you're looking at last year, the Yankees were probably the best lineup, if not the best lineup against righties. This year, they've been pretty good. Not as elite, but still top 5 to start off the year. On the other side, Detroit, they've been okay against lefties. Definitely not nearly as good as the Yankees are against righties. With a WRC plus of 87. Over a decent sample size, but not really that big, 148. So I would probably have to lean the Yankees here. I think we're getting the better pitcher. But that being said, the Yankees have been kind of mid. And Max Fried this year has looked really good on the road. Historically, he's been much better of a road pitcher than he is as a home pitcher. And Jack Flaherty's been a worse home pitcher than he has been on the road. So, no bet for me. I think the line's a little bit too heavy. I don't really want to take the Yankees on the run line because their bats have been kind of cold. But I would lean Yankees money line here at minus 145. Let me just confirm the weather for this game. Yeah, it's going to be blowing in. It's going to be really cold, 33, 34 Fahrenheit. Not sure what that is in Celsius, but probably pretty chilly. Yeah, I would lean under, but my official lean here would be Yankees money line at minus 145. I do think they have the better bullpen, better pitcher, and on paper the better bats. But Detroit's kind of been lighting up, so I'm not really sure if they'll be able to hit Max Fried here. But we'll see. Big lean to the Yankees money line, but I don't think I'm going to bet it. All right, heading on to game number 4, and it's going to be my first bet of the day. I'm going to take the Cubs first 5 run line here at minus 120. The Rangers bats have really not looked great. Now they're playing, Molly, who's really had some struggles this year. Yeah, he had a really good bounce back. 5 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. But I was against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's lineup is completely imploded ever since the whole Franco or Wander Franco issue. They've lost so many players. They've lost so many aces. I think that entire team is just kind of imploding. I don't think anyone really wants to be there. In his first game on March 29th, he pitched 1 inning, gave up 4 walks, 1 earned run, 2 hits. He looked terrible. He looked a bit better, but he only played 5 innings, and he still pitched 83 times. Not necessarily great, considering the fact that I don't really love what I'm seeing from this Rangers bullpen this year. A little bit shaky. Weather is going to be blowing right to left really strong, which again does help righty pitchers or righty hitters, which is basically all the Rangers have. So you could argue that that's going to be to their advantage. That being said, Imanaga is elite. Obviously, he hasn't had the greatest starts ever to start off the year. He's had 3 starts, pitching 7 in the last 2, only giving up 2 earned runs over 18 innings pitched. He's still elite. He's only given up 7 hits. Again, he's not really a strikeout pitcher, so I'm not necessarily too concerned on that front. I do think that the Rangers are the wind's probably going to help them, but they're not going to get solid contact, a lot of ground balls. And I think that's going to be a big advantage here. Molly walks a lot of people. The Cubs have some solid base runners. Going to steal some bases if you walk him to first, get him into scoring position early. I think this is going to end up being like a 3-1, 2-1, 1-0 type of first 5. So I do think the Cubs are the hotter offense. We're getting them at home with the better pitcher, the better lineup, and against a team that's hitting righties pretty solid this year. So definitely going to have to lean here with the Cubs first 5, minus 120. All right, that brings us to game number 5, the Padres versus the Athletics. Not going to have an actual bet in this one. The Athletics have been looking really, really good. And Vasquez, obviously, he had a pretty decent start this year, but on paper, he's pretty bad. Like, if we're being fully honest with ourselves, he's a terrible pitcher. Last year, he had a 6 ERA on the road. Again, he's going to be on the road again this year. Really, really struggles with, walking people. Doesn't really get a ton of strikeouts. Had a whip of 1.65 on the road last year. And he struggled last year really heavily against lefties. And the Athletics are not really that lefty heavy, which kind of does help him out a ton. But this year, he's, again, hasn't gotten hit from a righty, but he's got hit by a bunch of lefties 6 times. So definitely would lean that it does kind of benefit that the Athletics only really have 3 lefties, but they are really good lefties. Soderstrom, Blade, Butler have all been some of their better players. And you still got Brent Rooker and Shea on the righties that can hit bombs at any moment, which in this field is probably going to be good with this pretty warm weather. Padres, I still think they're going to be without, in my opinion, their best player, in Merrill. I don't think he's going to be playing, so that's always going to put them at a disadvantage. Beto, I liked what I saw from him last year. He hasn't necessarily been elite this year, but if I had to pick a side here, I would definitely take Athletics money line. But if my official bet, I think I'm just going to take the over I don't love it because of how many runs they got today. Typically, they're kind of due to have some cold bats, but this athletic stadium seems to be uh, seeing a ton of runs here. Weather looks like it's really good for runs. Um, you know, Wind is barely blowing in, and it's going to be clear and 70 degrees, which isn't warm, but it's warm for the standards of what kind of hitting we're seeing right now. So, um, yeah, I'll make my official lean athletics money line, but I would slightly lean the over as well. All right, that brings us to game number 6, and I'm going to go again and hope that I see more runs as today. I'm going to go with Baltimore versus the D-backs over 9. Um, Again, today we're getting two pitchers that aren't necessarily great. Pafad, he looked really good last year, but he's kind of starting a bit rough today. Kremer, terrible. Thing with Pafad, if you look at what he is good against, um, last year at home he had an ERA of 5. He didn't look phenomenal. He definitely strikes out a lot of people, but he also gives up a decent amount of home runs, decent amount of walks. But his biggest weakness is lefties. He's elite versus righties. Last year, batting average of 225 against righties, but against lefties almost .300. Um, you know, since he started, he's basically batting average of .300 against lefties, and that's really all the Orioles have. They're going to have 6 left-handed hitters here. They got Henderson, Rutschman, the switch hitter, obviously going to hit lefty against Pafad. Ryan O'Hearn, Kierkegaard, Mullins, Holiday, all lefties. Um, and then on the other side, we have Kremer, who everyone kind of knows him as Mr. Meatball. He throws a lot of fastballs down the middle. Often has a bit of a trouble, maintaining, uh, not walking people. He kind of tries to avoid the strike zone, and then when he kind of goes starting in a count at 0-2, he throws a meatball down the middle, trying to catch back up, and gives up a lot of home runs, especially at home. Now today he's going to be on the road. Against a D-backs team that hits righties really hard. He's been pretty mid this year. He's had 2 starts, giving up 13 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 walks, only 7 strikeouts, ERA averaging around 7. He's looking rough. And weather-wise, I think it's going to be obviously great for, especially right now, we're going to have 90 degrees at 3 p.m. Really warm. Wind's going to be blowing out slightly outwards. It's going to be very dry. I think this is like perfect weather for hits, and I think we're going to see a lot more home runs, especially with runners on, than we did yesterday. Like, these two teams didn't even have that many hits yesterday. Baltimore had 4 hits. Arizona had 5 hits. It was mostly a walk, and they still got 7 runs. So if these bats kind of get alive, which I think they will against these pitchers, I think we should expect to see a lot of runs in this really warm weather against 2 pitchers that I don't think are going to have phenomenal days. So give me the over 9 on this one. All right, that brings us to game number 7, which is the Reds versus the Giants. It's gonna be a weird one. Obviously, both these bats didn't do shit yesterday. The Reds end up winning 1-0. That being said, the Reds are starting to really heat up. They won 3 of their last 4. Verlander is old as hell, and he kind of has slowly gotten worse over time. And Nick Martinez, if you look at his stats versus the Giants, he's actually been pretty good. 69 at bats, he's held them to under a .159 average, only giving up 11 hits, 5 walks, 19 strikeouts, OPS of .566. So he's kind of done really well against this Giants team. Obviously they added Willie Adams this year, sorry, and he's kind of been doing absolutely shit all for the Giants, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I think the Reds are kind of catching the groove. The Giants, after starting out insanely hot 8-1, starting to slow down a lot. The Reds seem to just have their number, and I think Nick Martinez is the better pitcher. That being said, I do trust the Giants bullpen a lot more. I think both teams used up a lot of arms yesterday, but the Giants, especially after having another back-to-back game after the Reds got to use their GOAT in Hunter Green. So I'm going to lean Reds first 5 money line here at +125. I'm not going to bet it, but I do think that is absolutely going to be the right side here today. All right, that brings us to game number 8. We have the Dodgers heading on the road again to play the Nationals. Now, the Dodgers looked absolutely dog shit today. Let's be honest, but we're expecting a slightly warmer weather, like 15 degrees warmer than it was today, which I think really only benefits the Dodgers, who obviously play most of their games in LA. Um, and I think that's kind of been the difference here. They're 6-0 at home. Now they're 1-3 on the road. I think the cold weather seems to be the bigger issue. These you know they're just so used to the California sun that they're really struggling. Um, I'm gonna take the over 9 in this game. Um, I think Jake Irvin is the unfortunate pitcher that's gonna have to deal with the Dodgers team. That's gonna be probably really frustrated. And again, Jake Irvin is not a good pitcher. Wasn't a good pitcher last year. He's 28, and he started off this year on a rough start. Only 5 innings pitched in both of his starts, giving up 7 hits in both of them, 6 earned runs, 3 home runs, 3 walks, only 5 strikeouts. Um, Not really a pitcher that you want to have going up against the Dodgers lineup that is going to be kind of embarrassed, especially Shohei had a really bad start. I don't think he has another one. On the other side, we got Landon Knack. He's going to be basically he's had one start today, but this is going to be basically his first official start. He only pitched 2 innings against the Cubs all the way back on March 19th. He gave up 1 hit in 2 innings, 3 strikeouts. Pretty solid. That being said, I don't fully think he's that good. The Nationals lineup's been kind of getting really hot, and they still have some hitters that can get you for some home runs or some pretty solid contact. Obviously, if you look at Logan Knack last year, he didn't pitch much, but he had a pretty solid ERA. In 70 innings pitched, he had a 360, 370. Not going to blow your socks off, but he's been decent. But if you look at his advanced stats, I don't think he's really that good. He's probably the worst. Now that they got rid of Walker Buehler, I think he's probably the worst pitcher that the Dodgers do have. And on the other side, Jake Irvin, obviously terrible. I think both these teams are going to find some success. It's going to be, again, like I said, slightly warmer weather. It's going to be 55 degrees and sunny and clear. I think that's going to help. The wind's going to be blowing out slightly. And again, National Ballpark, the top 10 in park factor for runs. So I think if both these teams can fucking hit the ball when they have people on base, we could see another game of a ton of runs, especially a lot of home runs. So give me the over 9 in this game. But I would also lean pretty comfortably with the Dodgers. It's hard for me to believe that they're going to get swept at all this year. So I think both sides are great options. All right, heading on to the next game, we have the Astros heading on the road to play the Mariners. Now, they obviously just played a pretty pathetic game. 12 innings, only ended up getting 3 runs. Obviously, you had 2 aces on the mound with Castillo and Valdez, combining for 14 strikeouts. But I think these batters are going to be a little bit tired. They went pretty late, an extra hour, 45 minutes in this game. Bullpens are going to be pretty beat up, which is why I'm going to be taking the first 5 under at plus 100. Obviously, we're not going to be having nearly as good of pitching as we did yesterday. That being said, I still think Hunter Brown is elite. If you look at this Mariners team this year versus right-handed pitching, they were pretty good to end off the year last year. But to start off, they're looking kind of mid. Versus righties, 98 WRC plus. Obviously, still really good. Not really good, but decent. That being said, Hunter Brown is just really, really good and has done really well against Seattle in the past. On the other side, we have Louis F. Castillo, obviously not the same as Louis Castillo. He's a 30-year-old pitcher. Didn't have necessarily a great start last time he played. 3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks. Nothing great, nothing crazy. That being said, though, this Houston team, I don't know what's going on with them, but they can't hit righties. They can't do it this year. They were okay last year, but this year, bottom 4, 71 WRC plus, over 353 pitching plate appearances. I think that usually suggests they just can't hit righties. And Louis Castillo, again, if you look at his stats, yeah, he's been pretty shit, but he got really beat up by lefties. He gave up 4 of his hits, all 3 doubles, all against left-handed pitching. And the Astros only have 1 left-handed guy. Against righties, he had 10 batters, struck out 2 of them, only gave up 2 hits. So I think that's going to be where he benefits. Now he gets to play at home in a very pitcher-friendly ballpark. I think he bounces back after a rough game having to play the Giants, who were at that point extremely, really, really hot. So, yeah, this is going to be a good one. That being said, weather-wise, in this game. Not going to be like completely optimal for 4 and under. That being said, it's still going to be pretty cold. Wind is barely blowing outwards. It's going to be 51 degrees. But again, Mariners Ballpark is definitely tough for the batters. So we're getting a first 5 under 4.5 at plus money. I'm going to lean it. Obviously, I got screwed by my first 5 under today. And it's always possible that, some of these batters just go crazy out of nowhere. Hunter Brown just randomly starts giving up tons of walks. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game like every single Seattle game has been, especially at home. So give me first 5 under 4 at plus 100. All right, that brings us to the next game, which we have the White Sox head on the road to play the Guardians. Gonna make this one quick. Really no interest in betting either of these teams after the terrible. I don't know if you haven't watched that game, go watch it. It was a walk-off 1-0 game with a walk-off walk, like bases loaded walk in the bottom of the ninth. Just no words to describe how terrible that game was. Obviously, you could argue maybe they're going to start hitting today. I don't know. I think Sean Burke is better than Logan Allen. On paper, the Guardians should have the better bats, but but the way both these pitchers are hitting, I have no opinion on this game. If I had to pick, give me the over 7.5 as my official lead at plus 100. I think after a pathetic performance like that, I think they're due to hit, and now they're playing two pretty shitty pitchers. They'll probably get some runs today. Fuck it. Lean over 7.5, but no bet. All right, that brings us to our next game. We have the Jays heading on the road to play the Red Sox. Gonna have to lean the Jays here. Gausman hasn't been great, and Hook has done really well historically against the Jays, but Gausman's also done really well against the Red Sox. So my official lean in this game is gonna be under 8.5. I think obviously I got screwed today where they had 17 LOB. Usually when you have a ton of LOB and potentials, like this should have been a really high scoring game, and now it's going to be kind of the opposite. I think it's going to be a bit of a stifle. Gausman has been kind of shittier lately, but he's still the ace probably for the Jays. He has the ability. He has a lot of good stuff if he's feeling it. And then in his third start, I think he's going to figure it out. Hauk, a really shitty first start. Now he's up against the Jays team that's starting to get hits going again. They've been putting up a lot of runs. And I think Cook is going to be much more hittable than Crochet was. I would lean under 8.5, but I think this is going to be a pretty low-scoring game here. Don't really trust either of these bats. And in terms of weather, I believe it's going to be, again, really cold, 35 Fahrenheit. Slightly blowing out, but very weak. And slightly when you have, I'll always say, if it's blowing out but not heavily, it's kind of better for the outfield because, typical second base hits typically stay in the air a little bit too long, letting the outfield get to them. So, again, if these teams aren't hitting the Giant, which again they barely hit yesterday, I think it's going to be again a low scoring game. So under 8.5 is my lean, but no bet. All right, that brings us to our next game. We have the Angels versus the Rays. God, these teams also suck. I almost kind of wanted to bet this. I'm going to take the under. I think Kikuchi has done really well against the Rays in the past. Pepiot, not necessarily historically an elite pitcher, but he's looked really, really good to start off. Angels have been hitting people a lot more than they typically did in the past. But again, the game today was pretty pathetic to watch. It was 4-3, but neither team really hit the ball well, if I'm being completely honest. And that was against, in my opinion, worse pitching, especially with Kyle Hendricks on the mound. So I think, weather is going to be relatively warm, I believe, for this game. But wind is going to be blowing left to right, which, again, historically has been much more favorable for unders. Especially when you have batters that are batting right, which both these teams have a lot more righties than lefties. So under 8 is my official play on this side. On this game, I think both pitchers are good, especially Kikuchi. I think he's going to bounce back after a rough start. So under 8, my official side, minus 120 on this game, but no bet. All right, and to wrap us up, we have 3 more games. We got the Phillies at the Braves. Now, I'm going to take the Braves first 5 money line on this one. I liked what I saw yesterday. Their bats seem to really be coming alive now, and now they're up against, in my opinion, one of the worst pitchers in baseball in Taijuan Walker. Yeah, he had a great start against the Rockies, but that was obviously against the Rockies, the worst hitting team in baseball. I think that's why we're getting a good price here. Um, yeah, he still gave up 3 hits in 6 innings against the Rockies, which isn't even that good. Obviously, he had a perfect ERA that game, but historically, he's been dog shit. I have him like barely in my top 1,000. If we're looking at every pitcher last year that pitched a ball, really, really bad, especially against righties. If you look at this Braves team last year against righties, they were really good. Um, top 10 against righties. This year, obviously, they're not great. They're one of the worst teams against righties, bottom 5. But I think they had a rough start. I think they're warming up a lot, and now they get a really shitty pitcher. Grant Holmes had a really bad start, um, but I think he's obviously the better pitcher. He pitched 1 inning in March 27th, where he had 2 strikeouts, no earned runs, no hits, pretty much a perfect inning, and 9 pitches, struck out the entire side. Then he played, obviously, the Red Hot Dodgers at the Dodgers. He gave up 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Obviously not a good game, but that was against the Dodgers when they were at home playing insane. Probably the best team in baseball, going 6-0 at home. So can't really hold it against him in that one. Now he's going to be pitching at home where he's pitched better. Against Walker, who's pitched significantly worse on the road. Um, yeah, I think the Braves here starting to warm up. I think they're going to hit Walker. That's pretty much it. I think they're going to hit Walker more than the Phillies are going to hit Holmes. Um, yeah, that's it. Give me the Braves first side money line, minus 125. All right, game number whatever. We have the Twins heading on the road to play the Royals. Now, the Twins have been terrible. And Joe Ryan had a rough start. Lugo had a good start. But I'm going to have to take the Twins here. I think they're eventually due to start figuring out their bats. I think this might be a good spot for them, coming off a really, really close loss to the Royals where they lost to basically a sac fly in the bottom of the 8th. If you look at the stats in that game, they actually had 7 hits to the Royals who only had 3 hits. Obviously, that was Pablo Lopez having a really good game, but they had to play Cole Ragans in that game. Now they're playing Seth Lugo, playing probably their second best pitcher in Joe Ryan. I have him ranked as my top 21st best pitcher in baseball, so an elite pitcher, up against Seth Lugo, who I have ranked as 99th. So significantly big pitching edge, in my opinion, for the Twins. Bullpen, I think, leans to the Twins. And historically, Ryan has pitched really well against this Royals lineup. In 113 at-bats, sub 180 batting average, an OPS of .522, only giving up 20 hits on 113 at-bats, 40 strikeouts. That's obviously extremely promising. Weather-wise, it's going to be blowing left to right. Again, if you look at the stats, left to right historically, it's going to be favoring left-handed pitchers. If you hit a left-handed hitters. And if you look at the lineups here, the Twins have 4 lefties. The Royals have 4 lefties. So really no big edge there. That being said, if you look at Ryan's stats last year, or on his career, he's actually been, last year he was really good on the road, better on the road than he was at home. And this year, again, pitching on the road, he's been significantly better. And Seth Lugo, I don't know if I fully trust him. He's 35, he's getting old. He had 2 decent starts. One against Cleveland, again, a team that can't hit, but he still gave up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run, 3 walks in that game. Not impressive. And then he went and played Baltimore, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 Ks. So he had a much better outing. But again, he historically has not been very good at home. I think we're getting the Twins lineup here that is due to get hits. They had a better game yesterday. They just couldn't get the runners across. They had 6 left on base. Royals had 5. I think they're going to want their revenge here in a close game. So, yeah, give me the Twins money line here at minus 105. All right, and that brings us to the final game of the day, 8:40 p.m. Eastern. We have Milwaukee heading on the road to play the Rockies. Now, I think we're getting the Brewers at a pretty fair price here. I think Senzatella is not really that good. Yes, he has a 0 ERA, but he has a 2.17 WHIP. He got probably the luckiest game of his life. 2 really lucky games, dude. He's had 19 hits over 9 innings pitched, and he's given up 0 earned runs and only 3 strikeouts. I'm going to be honest, this guy has to be the luckiest pitcher of all time. Uh, he sucks, but he looks elite because he has a 0 ERA. I don't trust it. I think Tyler Alexander, even though he also kind of sucks, um, he was better on the road last year. He sucks too. But I just think that the Rockies are not necessarily a trusted offense. And again, weather. If you look at the weather for this game, weather is going to be left to right strong. If you look at the data, left to right, again, that does favor lefties. And the Rockies don't really have any lefties. They're going to have basically 2 lefties in this game, while the Brewers have 5. So 5 lefties versus righties versus Rockies. I think Alexander is the better pitcher over Senzatella, who's just been getting insanely lucky. Obviously, you don't really know. You don't really get a lot of innings from Tyler Alexander, who's played 3 times this year, twice in the bullpen, with 3 strikeouts, 2 earned runs. That being said, he's played against some tough lineups, mostly against the Yankees, where he gave up 2 of his earned runs, but he's been really good. He played his first start against the Reds. Obviously, the Reds are being really cold, but again, 6 strikeouts, no earned runs, no hits. Pretty solid. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to lean here with the Brewers here on the money line. -140, I think is a really fair price here for, in my opinion, the better lineup and the better pitcher. So, yeah, Brewers money line -140 official bet. All right, and that is everything for today. Just to recap, I have 7 bets today. We have the Cubs first 5, minus half a run at -120. We have the over 9 in the Orioles at D-backs game. We have the over 9 in the Dodgers at Nationals game. We have the first 5 under 4 in the Seattle versus Astros game at +100. We have the Braves first 5 money line at -125, the Twins money line at -105, and the Brewers at -140. In terms of official leans, we have the Marlins at the Mets, first 5 under 3.5 at -115. We have the Cardinals money line at -115. We have the Yankees money line at -145. We have the Athletics money line at -120. We have the Reds first 5 money line at +125. We have the White Sox first 5 plus a run at -105, and we have, to top us off, the under 8 in the Angels versus the Rays game. But yeah, that's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, look forward to hopefully having a much better today. I do really think that my bets were probably on the right side, if I'm being honest, yesterday. Did think I got a little bit unlucky, so yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys around the same time tomorrow. Same time tomorrow. Yeah, cheers.